What is the stupidest thing that ever came out of your mouth? My neighbor was leaving for a funeral. A close family member had committed suicide by hanging. We talked for a bit. I gave her my condolences. Then as she was leaving I said, hang in there. My ex-partner recently attempted to hang himself just a few weeks after the breakup. I was heavily involved in getting him help in the following days, and the amount of people that told me to hang in there was appalling. Probably more common than you would think, lol. I got off a red eye, very sleep deprived, and realized I forgot my glasses on the plane. I asked the very kind gate agent if she could go check my seat to see if she could find them. While she was gone, I touched my face and felt my glasses. I was mortified and apologized profusely when she returned. She was really nice about it though. To be fair, you could have been talking about sunglasses or perhaps a spare pair of glasses. Was at the dentist and he has me clench my teeth to look at my bite. He then says, any pain, to which I reply with no, with my teeth still clenched. He and the dental hygienist look at each other confused, so I ask him to repeat what he said. Apparently, he actually said open up, so he literally just said open up and I said no. Wanted to shrivel up in a hole and die. I was so embarrassed. They thought it was hilarious though. Picturing this made me laugh so hard I couldn't breathe. I kept trying to exhale and I couldn't. Thanks for that, lol. During my supermarket days, somebody asked me where the toilets were. I replied, we don't sell toilets. I still cringe. My mom had an opposite experience when she asked a Walmart, or some other large chain store, for the toilet and he directed her to the ones that were on display. I was student teaching and discussing my weekend plans to visit my cousin. One teacher said, oh, you're visiting your cousin? I thought you said you were going to visit your boyfriend. In an attempt to gloss over his mistake and communicate the sentiment of no worries, I instead shrugged and for some reason said same thing. Why whore. Chatting to a homeless guy on the street and he told me he was feeling unwell. I told him he should be at home, resting. It's been 20 years and the memory of it still brings me out in a cold sweat. What if he just laid down right in front of you? What a power move. What month is April in? I hadn't slept in a couple days and was trying to figure out what the date was. Some of the funniest ones come from sleep deprivation. High school quiz bowl. Basically Team Jeopardy. 9-letter word for said forcefully or excitedly. Me. Ejaculated. It was exclaimed. Ejaculated has 10 letters and while technically could have otherwise been correct. For example, the Snape ejaculated slug on meme. That nuance was lost on a room full of high school kids. Ejaculate. When I was doing a woman's taxes and asked her if she had any medical expenses for the year, she said, well, I had to put my husband in a nursing home last year. I said, that's excellent. Big time deductions there. Then I looked up and saw the look on her face and it still took me another 3 or 4 seconds to realize why she looked so horrified. I've never apologized so sincerely and completely in my life. I had a really hard time forgiving myself for that one. The important thing is that she got that deduction. Pulled up at Hungry Jack's drive-thru, ordered nuggets and a McFluffy. Hysterical laughter over speaker. Mom, it's a McFlurry, and this is Hungry Jack's. My teenagers still bring it up. McFluffy new at McDowell's. While out for a walk I admired a cute dog. I wanted to ask what breed it was but my brain wasn't working. Instead I asked what brand is your dog, which startled the owner and myself. My attempt at correcting myself resulted in me blurting out species, which only made matters worse. I was running once and saw a small flock of wild turkeys on a lawn. I yelled, turkeys, turkeys, at a family getting out of a car one house over. They just stared oddly. After, I realized that there was a fence between the two properties and they had no idea why I was yelling at them. I was giving a presentation about my club in high school, and at the end I wanted to invite people to come visit us. So I went to say stop by or say hi, but instead I managed to tell about 100 high schoolers to stay hi. Didn't know why everyone laughed till my friend told me what I said later. Bingput. I was a cashier about a year ago and I had to unlock the bathroom for people when they needed to go. So anyways, I unlocked the bathroom for this guy and he says thanks and I replied have a good one. That's what I always said when people left, after they bought something, not when they are going to crap. I hated that job. I was a cashier at a convenience store and worked night shift. We were required to greet people immediately when they came into the store. I sometimes would greet people when they came out of the bathroom. I felt like an idiot every time. Finally, my time to tell this story. I used to work at CVS, and I was training to be a key holder, which is to the manager, assistant manager what a lieutenant commander is to the captain XO on Star Trek. So one day neither of the managers could come in, so they sent this guy Ryan over from another store, and this was the first time I had ever met him. Now at CVS, we have to wear those crappy blue polo shirts, but Ryan, being management level, could elect to wear an actual professional shirt instead of the blue polo. We worked, did our shifts, and that was it. Maybe a week and a half later I head over to my friend's store, and lo and behold Ryan is working there. On this day he elected to wear his blue CVS polo shirt. We knew these shirts. We all had these shirts. This was his shirt. The same way when you're in the army this is your rifle. So I don't recognize Ryan, but I kind of recognize him, and I'm staring at him for a couple of seconds, and it starts to slowly click. Ryan, I say, and he confirms. And that's when I realized what it was. I had only seen him in a regular shirt. I had never seen him with his blue CVS polo. But what I said was, "Oh, it is you." I said, "I didn't recognize you with your shirt on." It was my birthday and it was getting cold outside, so I announced to everyone that I was going inside to put on long sleeve pants. She wears short shorts. I wear long longs. I'm a paper conservator by trade, and when driving through the New Forest UK recently to go hiking with friends, I realized that a village we were passing through was once the site of some famously beautiful trees that had featured in a print I had conserved years before. I didn't say that, however. What I instead proclaimed as we drove through the literal freaking New Forest was, "Guys, did you know, around here, there were once trees?" Watching the documentary The Last Dance when a Kobe interview pops up. Me. Wow, they must have filmed this before Kobe died. My wife. Yeah, obviously. Reminds me of using my Marine Corps training. I can turn anything into a weapon. Even this rifle. When I explained to my dad that my boyfriend really liked BJ's, while they were both sitting there meeting each other for the first time. BJ's is a restaurant chain where I live. Same thing with a new at the time mom and pop restaurant in my hometown. My parents asked what my plans were for the weekend, and I said a boy was picking me up on Friday for BJ's and a movie. It took them a moment to realize I meant dinner and a movie. They just froze as if time stood still while they worked through what I had said. I was discussing my husband's experience with a childhood urinary tract infection. We're both medical, so not that weird, and I asked him, "Are you circumcised?" My husband. I was once at the doctor's for some infection down there and he asked whether my partner was circumcised, and I had absolutely no idea. After more than 2 years and definitely having seen it many times, that was a very long, awkward pause. I was on a business call at work. The finance manager and I faced each other in our cubicles and the wall between us was low so that we could see each other. We had a good working relationship and we laughed a lot. One day as I was hanging up the phone from a vendor who had just agreed to make changes to everything I needed her to do, I exclaimed, "Thank you so much. You are so bendable." I hung up the phone. He looks at me and he says, "You just called her bendable." I said, "No, I didn't. I thanked her for being so flexible." He burst out laughing and I said, "Wait, did I?" But this time he was laughing so hard I knew that I did. Two choices: let it go or correct myself. I couldn't let it go. I called the woman back and apologized. She asked me for what. I said, "I was trying to thank you for being so flexible, but I called you bendable and didn't realize until I hung up what I had actually said." But my coworker is sitting there looking at me laughing at me, so I just had to call and make this right with you. She responded with, "No worries, I'm here laughing too." This is awesome. I bet that made her day. I was 18 and worked at a dental office. I pulled charts and kept the client waiting area clean. It's the end of the day. A man wearing sunglasses walks in with a black German shepherd and takes a seat. I asked, "Can I help you?" He says, "I'm just waiting for my wife Maria. I worked with her." I said, "Oh, nice to meet you," and I stick my hand out to shake his hand and he didn't do it immediately. He said, "I'm not sure if you are trying to shake my hand or not, but I'm Mike," and laughs a bit as he puts his out, and I just grabbed it, slightly confused, but said, "I'm Angie. Maria should be out soon, all the patients are out, so I'm just cleaning up." There is a folded newspaper sitting in the seat next to him. So I ask him, "Did you want to check out today's newspaper while you wait, or can I put it away?" He laughs and says, "Nah, you can take it. Not like I can read it anyway, right?" I still didn't get it. After I was putting away the magazines, it hit me and I said out loud, "Oh crap. You really can't see, can you?" Dude was literally blind. I'm a freaking idiot. Obviously that perfectly well behaved German shepherd was his seeing eye dog. The sunglasses. Him not finding my hand. Him actually telling me he can't see the newspaper still didn't click with me. Luckily for me, he is a really great guy and found my mistake as innocent and hilarious as it actually was. From then on, whenever he came in the office, he'd take the bus. Completely blind. He's so independent. Being so naive, I just didn't know he could be that independent. It would make my day. We became good friends. I'm still friends with some of the people who worked at that dental office, so I've gotten to see him a few times over the years, and every time I sneak up behind him and whisper to him, "You really can't see, can you?" and he goes, "Angie, how the heck are you, girl? Give me a hug every time, lol." But seriously, how dense can be? It sometimes amazes me. A blind guy asked me and my friend if we could help him to the nearest phone booth once, and my friend just pointed it out to him and didn't realize until I gave the dude my arm what she had done, lol. A couple of months ago, I got up and drove to work as usual. Later, my girlfriend texted me from home to ask me if she had left her sunglasses in my car. I told her I wasn't sure, but she could grab my spare key and go check in my car, which I had driven to work. Haha, I feel you. That would be the kind of things I'd say. A bit lunatic, eh? Probably the time I was on my honeymoon in Hawaii when I asked my new husband why there wasn't a bridge to Hawaii. I mean, if there can be a bridge to Alaska, why can't there be a bridge to Hawaii? Husband, there's not a bridge to Alaska though. Then how do people drive there? Husband, Canada. Canada is the bridge. Still just about die of embarrassment every time I think about that one. I blame a lifetime of the maps that show AK and high completely out of scale and in weird positions relative to the contiguous US. I was like 18 or 19 and still thought the term rabbit dog was rabbit dog, and I said that out loud in a car with my friends. I still remember the exact location we were driving by when it came out of my mouth because I felt so stupid. In my head I was wondering what 1 pound of water would look like in terms of volume. What I said out loud, however, was, "How much does a pound of water weigh?" But steel is heavier than feathers. When the cashier said, "Have a nice day," and I replied with, "No, thanks." Background: I wasn't thinking straight that day and thought they said, "Do you want a bag?" My first job was the concession stand at a movie theater. After ringing people up, I would end with "Enjoy the show." It was so ingrained in me due to saying it hundreds of times a week that I would sometimes say it whenever someone gave me change when I was the shopper at a store. I remember being so embarrassed. I look back and get a chuckle out of it now, though. When I was a kid, I would play the yellow car game, where you punch someone when you see a yellow car while on the road. Me being 10, I escalated it to anything that was yellow in and out of the car, carrying groceries, and I proceeded to smack my dad and proclaimed "yellow orange juice." Stupid and possibly legally actionable. I attended a meeting at my old company and I turned out to be the only man there. The woman giving the presentation was having trouble connecting her computer to the big screen, so I pulled out my adapter and helped her get all set. She said, "You're pretty handy to have around," and I, intending to convey nothing but my nerdiness, started to say, "Well, I'm pretty well endowed in the dongle department." As I started to say this, my brain belatedly realized how inappropriate this would be and cut me off, leaving me to say, "Well, I'm pretty well endowed." Fortunately, this only elicited a couple of awkward laughs and not an incident with HR. I've stopped myself multiple times from asking my parents how old was I when I was born. I just have an urge to ask that sometimes. Sorry if that's a dumb question. I was pretty young, so I don't remember exactly. I was working in a drive-in ticket booth for a fancy heritage park in Yorkshire when a car stopped at my booth with a young couple, a toddler and the cutest a corgi in the back. They asked a few questions about the park and asked if it was okay to ride a tricycle around the grounds. Me, being completely enamored with this dog, hesitantly said yes, and how I was so excited to see this dog somehow ride this tiny bike. It was for their toddler that I forgot in the back seat. We had a good laugh about it, but it was still a big smooth brain moment. Yeah, but I want to see the corgi ride a tricycle too. In my freshman year of college, I was dorming next door to a couple cute girls. About a week into the first semester, one girl walked from the co-ed showers to her dorm room and her towel still wet. We were both unlocking our doors to get in our rooms when she looks at me and says, "I know I look stunning," sarcastically. To which I replied, "Don't flatter yourself." I had to slid a note under her door explaining I was tongue-tied as she was beautiful and I meant to say, "Don't be hard on yourself. You look great," or something to that nature. We became good friends. So cute of you to recover this way. I was about 4 months into my current job, feeling confident being fresh off the contract to hire period, now moved into a coveted full-time role. While walking back to my office from the morning Kanban, I was stopped by my boss, head peeking out of the office. "Boss, hey, the mediator, do you have a sec?" Me, "For you, I've got lots of sex." Boss, wide eyes, mouth dropped. "If you're curious why this was incredibly stupid embarrassing, try saying the phrase lots of sex out loud. Preferably, not to your boss though." LOL. When I was in 6th grade, the neighbor teacher came in and asked our teacher if she had a sec, and my teacher responds, "I have many sex," and to a bunch of 6th graders. We all started laughing. She had a confused look on her face and then got quiet when she realized it. This just happened an hour ago. I'm in this cafe to leave a bunch of flyers I made. As I'm leaving, the waitress tells me she likes my perfume. Normally, I'd pick up on this as sort of a chat up line and politely diffuse, but because of COVID and a recent breakup, I'm just not in that mindset at all. So I just blurt out, "Yeah, I put on extra because I didn't shower today, and I sweat a lot." Like, I can't even freaking cringe at myself. I'm so horrified. Even if she was just being nice, I'm now a weird story she can tell her friends. I'm such a freaking moron. I would give you a hug, but someone told me you have a sweating problem and haven't showered today. It was cloudy enough that I could see the shape of the sun behind the clouds. I, crap you not, looked at my husband and said, "Oh, I didn't know there would be a full sun today. Like a full moon, but the sun." The look my husband gave me had me reconsidering that master's degree I have. I don't understand why people place bets on who wins. Why not just place bets on who loses? Yeah, took me a minute to register what I said. This is actually kind of a thing for horse racing. Obviously in one-on-one sports it doesn't make sense, though. One of the many that I can actually remember because my husband will never let me live it down was being at a farmer's market and reading a handwritten sign out loud that said "Papa yeah," and then asking my husband what it was. "It's Papa," he replied. I feel like Papa Yor could definitely be a rapper or DJ name. Little me, talking about a baby dinosaur fossil. It would have lived longer if it hadn't died. I meant that their lifespan was a lot longer, but I recently started a new job at a bakery and we got a box of cakes that came in. Being an ever clever and eager to learn worker decided to read the boxes to see what kind of cakes they were. They were labeled on iced cakes, without the dash. I then asked a co-worker what type of cake an unist cake was, except I pronounced it as unice because that's what I thought they were. My co-worker looked at me like I was the biggest idiot in the world, and I agree. I was playing on my phone, extremely focused, and I sneezed. Couple seconds later, I said "bless you," and no, I was not alone at the time. I do that sometimes with a thank you at the end and people just look at me. I was wondering why they had shut the gate at my kid's school and I looked around and saw heaps of crows and I said to another parent, "Probably shut the gates to keep the crows out." As soon as it left my mouth I remembered they can fly. The other parent lost it laughing and I wanted the floor to swallow me up. It's only embarrassing if you make it that way. It was a good joke if someone laughed at it. I worked in politics in the early to mid 2000s. I'm in DC. We were going to the White House for a photoshoot with the Potters and some legislators. I was one of a few folks taking the pics for the people from my state. I walk up to a gate, not necessarily the right one, and a uniformed Secret Service officer with an automatic weapon and ask where's the Oval Office I'm supposed to shoot the president? He dongs his head to the side, and I'm immediately like that was a really stupid way to ask that questions wasn't it? He deadpan said yep and you couldn't see it even if I told you. I explained I was supposed to enter on a certain side and I was trying to figure out where. He made a gesture in a direction. I thanked him, apologized again and walked away. I hear him laughing behind me as he radioed the other gate. I got to the proper gate and the agent looks at me and says, well, you must be our shooter, and snickers. I replayed that in my head a 100x over. I love this so freaking much. Once a friend was taking a graphic design class. They asked me for my opinion on a project they was doing. They had to design road signs. They asked me if they should have a hand on the sign or the word stop. I said you should have the word stop because blind people can't see the hand. They then looked at me and asked, you know blind people won't be able to read stop either? I thought blind people could somehow read letters like a normal person, but couldn't see anything else. When I was living up in Fairbanks, I was out driving with my parents one day. There was a truck in front of us that had a decal on the back window. It had the word home written, except that the O was replaced with an outline of the state of Alaska. My dad says, oh, that's cute. They replaced the O in home with Alaska. My response, thanks for explaining that, because I had no idea what Alaska meant. To be honest, that's the best response you could have given. I was a waitress a lifetime ago. One table asked for some crackers for their toddler until the meals came. I got busy doing something else and only remembered the cracker when I passed the table. I yelled crackers as I walked past by the table. I'm black. The table was a white family. I yelled crackers in the middle of a busy restaurant in Mississippi. You could hear a pin drop. Luckily the family laughed and I wanted to die. I still think about it when I try to sleep at night. I used to swear that pigs can't walk backwards. I'd heard it somewhere when I was little and it made sense as to why they're associated with New Year, they only move forwards. I apologized to all the people I passed this ridiculousness on to over my life. I never heard pigs being associated with New Year. Family member died. Cousins came to the funeral. Me. Did they know this woman? It's my dad's sister's children who are my cousins. The woman who died was on my dad's side of the family. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.